The Switch 2 has been out and in my hands for about a month now, except it's actually been on my desk gathering dust, because that's what happens when you launch with one first-party game and the hype for it dies down after a few days. It operates mostly as a Switch 1 replacement. Anything I would have played on the previous console now gets played on the new one, and that's not that exciting when I don't feel like revisiting games that have gotten upgrades like Tears of the Kingdom, especially at extra cost. These are the main three reasons to have gotten a Switch 2 at launch. The first one is obviously Mario Kart World, which will run you a good time for as long as your friends are still playing it, which mine aren't. The second is Tears of the Kingdom, if you want to finally play that at a reasonable frame rate. And the third is Cyberpunk, if you're someone who's never had another console or PC before. One of the top three biggest selling points of the Switch 2 at launch is a game you could play better anywhere else. That's shockingly bad. Cyberpunk is the third-party mascot of, hey look, the Switch 2 can actually run this, but anyone over the age of 12 has better systems to play it on anyway. There was all this pandemonium centered around availability and pricing and email invitations and how early we should stand in line for our pre-orders. And I'm standing here on July 8th, 4 weeks in the aftermath of it all, going, I did not need to do all this. I did not need to stand in line outside Best Buy for 90 minutes to spend too much money on something I barely use that I should have so many more reasons to use, but all that's coming in the future. There should have been no rush to buy this. If I waited till mid-July to just walk into a place and pick one off the shelf in time for Donkey Kong Bonanza, the end result would be the same and I'd have wasted far less time. The fact that Bonanza missed the launch window is a giant detriment. It's the Super Mario Odyssey of the Switch 2. It's going to be a generational game for the system. I've seen multiple gameplay deep dives and presentations they've done. It is straight up peak. It cannot possibly fail. But Nintendo is at a disadvantage when it comes to launch titles because its third-party offerings are fundamentally less exciting because they're generally shit we've already played elsewhere. The PS5 or Xbox come out with third-party launch titles, and if they're not remasters, they're new. Many of them end up being multi-platform, but they launch everywhere at the same time, and we don't already know what to expect. Not so with the Switch 2. Like, Split Fiction is an amazing launch title. Too bad we already played it. Cyberpunk, Hitman, Street Fighter, Final Fantasy, Civ 7, etc. Great launch titles. Already played them, not buying them again. Not playing them here. If you're a gamer with any flexibility in you, consoles need a reason to lure you in on launch day, and that's with new day one games you have not seen before. One first-party launch title is insane. Even the PS5 had 3, if we ignore the remasters on both sides and count Astro's Playroom, which is at least about 1,000 miles above the Switch 2's fucking tutorial game they had the audacity to charge $10 for. Seriously, who bought that, and what livestock pen should we put them in? And the PS5 has been mercilessly clowned for being the system with no games, and to this day you hear those echoes in the mountains. But the Switch 2 is a Mario Kart machine for the first month, and a bunch of us still clambered over each other for it. 90% of the stuff they showed in those Switch 2 game reveals I'll be playing on PS5. Even some of the third-party stuff that says it's an exclusive now won't be later, if it even is to begin with, like the Duskbloods. From Software's somehow second already multiplayer-centric Souls game, that'll be everywhere sooner rather than later. 5 years from now, we'll have a much better understanding of just how good and important and necessary the Switch 2 is to have, like when we get Metroid Prime 4 and new entries in every ongoing franchise like Pokemon and Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing. But for now, there's only wishful thinking, and if you don't have the system yet, you don't need it, unless you've got nothing else. Well, that's going to do it for this shorter episode. There hasn't been much going on that I've wanted to weigh in on lately, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos in 4K on the plane, and I'll see you guys next time.